I consider it a hobby, but a lot of my buyers call me an artist. But I'm a farmer, and a farmer and a woodsman. Like I like the bush and I like wood. I wanted to be a forester, but we were 14 in the family, and there was no way I could go to school. There's no way that there was any money. Well, I did work for 10 years. That wasn't me. I had to be on the land. My wife and I both made the decision to retire. So we both retired. We farmed and we started with nothing and we worked at it. We made a living, raised 3 boys. It was a way of life. It wasn't a way to get rich, and I knew it from day one that that's what I wanted, and I enjoyed it right through. I couldn't get enough of it. I kept renting more land, getting bigger and bigger, and buying more property, and just couldn't get enough of it. It's like bowl turning. There's a French expression, un train, un trac.
This sanding, because it's boring for people to watch it.
And it's hard to say. I don't know if the people understand exactly what's going on. I've been into woodworking for 21 years. Turning is addictive. Once you start, you never want to stop. I don't know if it's the turning of the bowl, getting closer and closer to a bowl that's so addictive, but I would say it's way more addictive than alcohol. So you put your knife in there. So this is the one here that I'll be using. So I sharpen at 75. Most people sharpen at 45 or 60. See? Perfect. So push of a button, it'll change speed. So that's pretty good. That's 750 revs with no vibrations. I was always looking for dry bowls, so I took one winter and I did about 1,500. So I've been finishing these blanks ever since. But I got lucky. I found a guild that I joined, and there's a bunch of turners that took me under their wing and showed me the ropes. Well, I guess I'm like most turners and cabinet makers. Fascination for every piece of wood, how they all have their character and turn out different, and it's so pleasing to jump on a gnarly piece of wood in the morning and after dinner end up with a showpiece. My name and the year, the type of wood, and the number of the bowl. And what I put on it is registered in this book. From day one. Yeah. That's it. I've made 1,156. I mark every book in and what type of wood it is and what the finish I put on it. Oh, for a hobby, I don't think you can get a better hobby. It's so gratifying to start with a gnarly piece of wood. That a lot of these bowls are made with a piece of wood that isn't even fit to go in the fire. They're so bad. Apparently the end grain is the worst stuff to do, but I'm doing the end grain because of the cracks. There would have been a way to seal them up, yeah, but it would show, and I just wanted to do it this way. That's all the bowl is good for is for a conversational piece. Well, I guess you could use it for peanuts or nuts or small fruit bowl or things like that, but you can't use it for any wet food. Well, yeah, I make non-functional bowls, which are just showpieces, but that's made out of the real garbage wood or burls, but they're hard to find. There's maybe one burl out of a million trees, so you can't be turning a burl every day. So now it's sanding. The pros and cons. Well, I guess the con would be you're addicted to it. And you're here for years. I was here 7 days a week, 12, 18 hours a day. Couldn't get me out of this shop. No, I've stepped back a bit because of my body's not the same as it was 20 years ago. And I was so happy to have this after I was retired. I just couldn't get enough of it for years. COVID kind of took the winds out of my sails because the customers went to almost zero. So I didn't turn because I had so many bowls on the shelves. They were piled 3 deep and 4 deep and they were all over the place. And I said, what's the use? So I slowed down. I spent 2 winters in the bush cutting cordwood, so I've got enough firewood for the next 10, 15 years. In those days, there was no television or no YouTube to help you. I wanted to learn how to get in, but it was word of mouth and the library, but the pickings were few and far between. It was the biggest bowl I ever made, and it would have to be that one that busted. Blew in 5 parts, and one part hit me in the face and put my glasses right under my eyeball. It was okay. I know some guys, they take 4 or 5 hours to mount their bowl. There's different ways of mounting it on the lathe, but I use a worm screw, where this way it takes a couple of seconds. About 2 years ago, I burnt for a long time with the microwave transformer, and I kept being told that it was too dangerous to do. There was no bowl that you could sell for your life. So I stopped burning, and then I invested in this machine here from the States. The wood is dictating. Okay, this one's been sitting for 10 minutes. We'll see if it works better. While we're making a mess, we might as well make a good one, eh? they don't burn at all like the microwave transformer. The microwave would just explode. It would just zoom, finished. Within 10 seconds you had a burn, and a better burn. I might try to do both sides. So I think what I'll do is I'll just age the wood, the whole piece. When I'm finished, I'll just slobber it with some of this solution, which is baking soda and water. It's time consuming. You've got to be real careful when you wash these, so you don't wash the little hairlines at the end there. All those little things you have to watch that you don't burn that out. Through life as a farmer, I would see a piece that I thought would be good for turning, which I didn't know anything about turning, but I'd bring it home. And I was collecting dried up and rotten pieces and whatnot for the future, not knowing that I'd ever get into it. You decide the size of the tree. The diameter of the tree decides on how big the bowl is going to be. First of all, you cut the length of your block, then you flip it over and you mark it around, and then you cut the corners off of it. You cut it down the middle, and I'll trim the bark off of it, round it off, and I'll flip it over and I'll do the inside. Through experiment and through doing this and that, you end up with a perfect bowl. So you want to know how I got started? My mother had given me a bowl when we got married, and it was a bowl that her mother had given her. It's an antique bowl. It's over 100 years old. And when I was a young boy, I used to make butter in this bowl every Saturday morning. And you work the water, a little bit of milk, and you put salt, coarse salt in it. What you get is buttermilk. That's what they get out of, that's where the buttermilk comes from, this working. I always wondered, how did they make these things? So that stuck in my head all through life. Right now I'm farming in Lafontaine. I'm on concession 15 of Tiny. Fire route number is 540. So I just sell at the door. I don't bother going to sales. It keeps me busy just trying to keep bowls on the shelf here. I guess somebody that makes a lot of things that are different, where they're never happy with just doing a bowl. They got to make these intricate things that you don't know, how did they do that? Impossible, but they do it.